to this color grading tutorial. I got 3 clips here. 2 are from the same camera. 1 is a different camera. So we're going to talk about that. This is the 6K Pro Blackmagic camera. I shot braw, and this is the node setup. We can take a look here at effects. So if I click on this color space node and slowly scroll up, I'm trying to find, I have to say, Davinci's node thing here is just not great. They need to fix this. Anyway, there's my rant. This is the color space that I'm using. So you can see here, I should make this bigger somehow so you can see. There we go. So this is the what we need for the Blackmagic 6K Pro. Great. So we have that in there, and that's at the end, and everything's going through that. And the first thing, let's just go through this step by step. Now this is already kind of copied over, so I'm a big fan of doing this, where you go screen grab and then export this and export this into a folder, and then you bring them over. So that's how this actually started. So that's why it looks a little funky right now, because I brought it in from another clip. So we're gonna make lots of adjustments here. Exposure. So this is, I do a bunch of stuff in exposure, probably more than I should, but I'm gonna get into the parade here. This is the scopes I like for, and I wish I could like scroll this over. I don't know why this is so big. There's another rant. Let us get into, okay, so offset. This is, let's see, this red's way over there. So we're gonna drop this down, and the color temperature, you can see, not great, super red. So let's right off the bat, I guess that's why I like to doing all these things, because I basically I'm kind of doing each one of these nodes based off of the tools down here. I guess that's kind of how I work. So exposure, I'm working in the primaries color wheel and the parade. Also, I'll get to the vector scope, but basically, here's we're tweaking that. I should get rid of this gallery so this video is bigger. There we go. So much bigger. And so tweaking the colors, it's oversaturated a little bit, and some stuff's kind of crushed there. That is a starting point. Maybe we can bring it down a little bit. Still a little bit hot. And things are pretty crushed in the blacks, so let me bring that up a bit. If you don't know how to use this scope, this is your lifesaver, because basically our eyes are crap. Your monitor is not perfect. Even though this is a calibrated kind of monitor situation, it's not great. You have to use these scopes. They really tell you what's going on. So this is obviously the red, green, blue channels, and this is kind of some stuff clipping here. So my guess is this light here. Oh, sometimes if you have this thing, it'll show you on here where it is. I'm not sure why I don't have that. I need some sort of feedback thing. Reference levels. Maybe that's why. No, I don't know why. Maybe in here. I don't know. Nope, not working. And okay, so now let's go over to, so that's okay. Actually, we gotta do one more thing, skin tones. I'll try to get my skin tones set. So this is a great little line here. This is the skin tone line. And that way, I can also get rid of this clips view. Let's see, I don't want to see clips. There we go, getting some more space. So we have this, you can see the skin tones here. They're kind of off over in magenta more, so we want to make a little more yellow. So I might just push them a little bit more in the yellow, and you can see here when I do that, we're pushing the skin tones over in the right direction. So you want to kind of have it right over that middle. So I'm not even looking at my image, I'm just looking at that scope. And now I look really orange, but it looks okay here. So I might just play with the temperature a little bit. You can see what it does in the scopes. There is quite a bit of red light in here. I got this light, ambient kind of light. So this is looking okay. So now let's move on to contrast. Oh, I think I mess all that up in contrast? Let me reset this node and see what happens. I did. I totally messed up. That's what nodes are for. And anyway, I messed up. This happens a lot. And so now I was in the wrong node. So now we're going to go and take a look. Oh, okay, yeah, because basically did everything in contrast. You guys were probably watching in wherever you are going, this guy's an idiot. He's doing his exposure in contrast. How come he didn't yell out loud enough so I could hear? All right, so we're doing some adjustment here. The saturation is really, I feel like it's just oversaturated. I'm going to take this down for now. And the boost, just to kind of, maybe I should just reset this altogether. And really try to get a good looking image to start with exposure. You know, and make sure the levels are pretty good. So nothing's really getting crushed in the blacks. So I'm afraid the blacks are probably a little bit too much light in them. So I want to bring a little bit more contrast in here. Again, even working on contrast in this node, you know, just really want to get everything looking decent, and then I have a good starting point to play with. And as long as I don't break anything too much, so even the tones look, the skin tones look pretty good. Maybe I'll push them a little bit more yellow, tiny bit. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Tiny bit in there. Great. So now I'm going to get into contrast, and I like using these curves for contrast. So let's see if we can play around here. Which scope? Probably the parade would be good for this one. You can see we have a lot of headroom for the usually 3 little dots gets you started. And now I'm going to kind of bring some highlights up. And I just like playing with these because I get kind of the midtones. So this is kind of like my gamma almost node, and then this is like lift. So okay, I like the contrast. It's probably a bit too contrasty. Might hit that a bit. Not bad. Saturation. I like to start with the color boost and just see. Not really liking what color boost is doing. Don't really like what saturation's doing. So I'm just kind of keeping it there for now. And then the log color. So that's in this color. So now we're getting into, so this is kind of like just the base, making things look kind of decent. And now I'm getting into like the look. So in log, you can see I've pushed the highlights here in yellow, and I've had the shadows in blue. So that's already kind of done. That looks pretty good. I feel like I'm still a bit orange, but that's what our vector scope is for. And you can see we're not doing too bad. Okay, let's go on to this palette. So the palette, this is a really cool one. And there's not a lot of green in this image, so I just like took the green out. You know, a lot of times I'm taking the green out when I'm shooting in my studio. So I'm just going to take the green out. And that's kind of like a look, you know. It's just removing a color, I find, is a nice way to start with a look. There's not a lot of green in this, so why don't we just take all the green out? You know, and then we can just kind of pull on some of these. See the purples, they're really nice. Actually, you got these purples in here. So I might even just boost those, just, you know, those are quite nice, the color. And the shadows here. Okay, not bad. Flying along here. Now we go into our hue. So hue versus hue. I'm just going to reset this. And I don't really think I need to do much in there. Hue sometimes is good for skin tones. You can, if there's a person's really red looking face, you know, like you can come over here and click here on a point and maybe click a couple spots in the face. And then here you can look at the scopes. So you can see here I'm moving the scope down. I'm getting a little more into the, right here is where I'm looking. You can see I'm able to tweak the skin tones a little bit and try to get them. See if I go extreme. So something around that line, just bringing it down a bit. Okay, and now we have, this is the hue saturation. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with here. This is why we have so much red. So this is what happens when you bring over a previous grade. So I kind of forgot about this node. So this node's doing a lot. So I might just hide this. Yeah, you can see it's doing a lot to my skin tone. And you can see what's happening in here. It's really boosting. It's definitely helping. And then we have a lot of this purple here, which is quite nice. I'm not sure if I like it bluer or redder. It'll kind of depend on the other image. Okay, not bad. And now we have hue and luminance. I'm just going to reset this. That doesn't do much. And then also we have, this is a great little thing. You just drop the saturation down for luminance. So anything that's dark, you get to take out a lot of the saturation in the dark areas. Just find it does add a nice little look. So this is kind of more look stuff. You can see here, it's doing nothing. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and let's bring up our gallery. So I'm going to just grab a still, and that's, now we can go to clips, and show the next next clip here. So let's see if that can bring it up today. Okay, congrats. So I'm just going to bring this right over top. So now we have that grade on there. And get rid of clips and gallery. We can take a look here. So a bunch of stuff going on. Exposure. Let's just get back to that in my parade scope. Okay, you can see, yeah, we definitely have some room. I'll make sure I'm not in log, which I love to do all the time. By love, I mean doing it as a stupid thing to do. So let's bring up our offset here. That's looking really good real quick. And so with temperature, you know, you're basically looking at your reds and your blues and you're trying to balance them out. That's how I see it. But by balancing them out, a lot of times the skin tone looks weird. So we'll just see what we get here. Yeah, everything's kind of staying along. The skin tone looks good. You can see here. That looks like it's in a good spot. Looking kind of really purple back here. I'm just going to get rid of my exposure and see what kind of damage it's doing. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Contrast, let's see what I've done with that. That's definitely looking nicer. I think maybe we could add a little more contrast in this. So I might just bring this down, not too much. And, oh. Okay. So actually I kind of like pushing it up top here. This is why I really like this contrast node. You can just really finesse it. And saturation, I want to leave it. I don't really want to mess with any of this stuff because it's the look, even the saturation. So now here, hue, I don't know if it's not really doing anything. Oh, I see, that's kind of really boosting those. Oh, it's actually desaturating a little bit the pink, which is good. It's some really hot pink behind them. So, everything else is looking quite nice. Let's get our gallery and our clip back, and let's just take a grab of this. All right, and now we have the last node. Now this is going to look real funky when I drag this over, and because this has the wrong color space. So let's go up to our color space and adjust this. So this will be way different because this is a different camera. We shot in video, we didn't shoot in film. So I'm going to use the Gen 3 video. Where is that? I think this one here. That's already helping. And it's not Gen 5. I think it's just the original video. There we go. That looks way better. And everything else, I think, stays the same. Okay, so we're going to hit save on here. And we have to do a lot of adjusting. This is a totally different camera. So you can see, look at these scopes. That is some interesting scope looking stuff. And let's see, bring in our scopes. Bring me in the camera. Okay, let's see, we got a lot to do here. In exposure, let's really bring this up. It's really blue looking, so we need to really balance this out. And that looks terrible. It's not raw, it's shot in ProRes, so it doesn't have, you can't really push it too far. It's amazing how, I guess the reds and the blues, there's just not a lot of red in it. Okay, I don't love that, but we're moving on. I might just reset this. Let's see. Oh, let's give ourselves something to look at here. Oops. Okay. Okay, oh, no, we don't want that. Probably bringing this down. That's looking better. It's way too hot in this area. It's amazing how different a sensor this is. Okay, yeah, bringing that down is really helping. It's basically straightening the line out. Probably because it wasn't shot raw, so that makes sense. So let's just actually reset it, and that's probably a smart thing to do, since that's where it wants to go. Okay, not bad. Let's see what this is doing. Seems like I could definitely have more saturation in this one. And then eventually what I'll do is compare. So it's still looking quite orange for skin tones. So let's see what we're dealing with. Skin tones. Looks like that's the slice here, which is pretty much on. And that's really helping. And then this, I might have to tweak this. It's not doing much. All right, so we're doing pretty good here. Pretty happy with that. It's just, I might actually turn that off. Yeah, these aren't doing much. Great. And so the last thing I would do is, let's get another gallery shot here, is start to compare them with each other. Oops. So let's bring over Eclipse, and we can kind of compare them with this guy. So yeah, that's actually matching quite nice. This almost looks like the same shot, so I can go back and forth between skin tones. I'm looking a lot more pale, and I'm really kind of blending in. It's like this color is like skin tone color, so it's kind of interesting. I don't really stand out. That's maybe a note for next time I do some lighting, but I might be able to come in here and tweak that. But I think for now, it really does feel like the same place. The tones and everything look quite good. So that's kind of just a basic grade. Everything's looking good. And so this is what we would do. And then what I really like to do is grab these and export these nodes by just going here and export, and then I can export these and bring them in again with another color grade. So that's it. That's how I color grade this. I hope that was helpful. Great, thanks.